Hey, what's up guys? Matt Shapiro here again from the Rail team, coming back at you with another baking video. I know a lot of us are still stuck inside. I've been out with clients this week, but still there's many of us that are still staying home and staying safe. So I figured I'd share with you another recipe from my baking days. This one comes requested from a lot of old friends in Montreal and people who knew me growing up and knew the bakery growing up. And it goes well with the cheesecake recipe that I did. It actually takes part of the filler from the cheesecake, and we're gonna turn it into cheese bagels, a dessert cheese bagel. So not your regular bagel with cheese. This one, anybody from Montreal will know what I'm talking about, but maybe others won't know. This is actually it's a puff pastry cheese bagel. So I'm going to break it up into a couple sections. I'm going to make it's a French style puff pastry, so we're going to be doing a barrage and the détrempe. Okay everybody, so this is what we're going to need. This is for our barrage, and this over here is for our détrempe. And of course we have our mixer with our paddle already. Afterwards for the détrempe, we're going to shift over and use the dough hook. So first off, we need 1.5 cups of, 1.5 pounds of butter. So this over here, this is 454 grams, so it's 1.5 pounds, or 3 cups if you want to measure it out. And then of course we need 1 cup of flour. It's just all-purpose flour. And a little 8-inch pan over here that we're gonna put some saran wrap over. And over here for our détrempe, which we're gonna make afterwards, this is 4 cups of all-purpose flour, and then we have 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of salt, and then 1 cup of cool, coldish water. All right, here we go. Now, is that a thing of beauty or what? Look at all that butter. Now, you'll see I did save a 1 cup of butter for the détrempe, but the rest of it, this is all for our barrage over here. All right. Now we're gonna lower our mixer, lock it in place. We're gonna start turning it on, mixing it up, and we wanna mix in our butter, our flour. We'll blend it all together. Speed it up a little bit. Now you want to mix in that flour so it's a lot easier to work the butter into the dough. That's why we put it in. All right, so we want to do that for, I don't know, maybe about a minute or so. It's not clumping all around the paddle. So what we're going to do is we're going to scrape that down. We're going to scrape it down, and we're going to pop it all into the pan over here. I don't have my expert helper today, so I've got to do this myself. Whoa. All right. Okay, so I've scraped the bowl down over here, and the next thing we're going to do is put it into our baking pan. What you want to do is you want to push this all down in here, and you want it to be a good inch thick all the way around the pan, and make it, press it down in there so that it's a nice square. Okay, so here we have it in our pan. You can kind of see here, I'm going to lift up the side. That's about as thick as we want it, just nice and even all the way around. And we're going to just wrap it up. I'm going to put another layer on top, and we are going to pop it into the fridge, and you got to chill it for a good 2 hours until you can actually work it. All right, so our barrage is done. Okay, here we are ready to do our détrempe. I've switched to the dough hook. We've got our 4 cups of flour. I think I might have said earlier a cup of butter, but it's actually a half a cup of butter. So we need half a cup of butter with, you know, maybe one more block, just another tablespoonful. And what else? We need the tablespoon of lemon juice, a tablespoon of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of salt, and our cup of cool water. So here we go. So you want to put everything in, and you want to leave the butter aside. So we've got our flour, our salt, sugar, lemon juice, and our cup of water. Lower the hook and lock it in place. Now we want to knead this first before we put in our butter. Give it a good minute, maybe 2. See how it's coming along? And it's almost all together. It's starting to look good. We're going to add the butter in now. Okay, we've got our butter in. Gonna lower it down again, lock it, and just keep it on low. And you want to do this for a good 4 minutes. You want it to form a nice even ball. At the 3-minute mark, you can see how it's starting to pull everything away from the sides of the bowl. So it's going to be nice and sticky. We are at the 2-minute mark. It's really starting to come together. Just keep kneading it. You don't need to increase your speed. And here we are, almost a full 4 minutes. We're going to be ready to take it out. 4 minutes are up. Should have a nice big clump of dough, and what you can do is pop it out onto your flour counter over here. You don't want to use too much flour. You don't want to introduce too much flour into the mix, but just enough to grab your rolling pin, and you want to roll it down to about the same size as the barrage that we had before with the 8-inch pan, so maybe a little bit bigger. And you can do it on top of, well, you can roll it out, and then you want to wrap that in some saran. Flour this up a little bit, and we want to just roll it out over here. Not too big. Square it up. Once it's cooled in the fridge and the barrage is ready to go, that's when we're gonna roll it out some more. So, see that thickness? That's what it should look like. Go out like that. Just wrap it up nicely. Some saran, nice and tight. Maybe do 2. I'll do a second one. for the fridge. Now you want to chill it for a good couple hours. All right, so we've got our dough and our butter mixture. I just popped these out of the fridge. It's been resting for about 2 hours. And now we're off to the next step, which we're gonna start rolling it out. Now, you're gonna see different methods if you look up puff pastry dough online. Some people roll out the dough and then put butter in it, but really the best way to get the most even dough of butter to dough mixture is to roll out the dough.Jewish. So roll out your butter and then put your dough into it. So that's what I'm going to show you over here. Lightly flour your table. You've got your 8x8 square of butter mixture, and you're going to want to roll it out. It's a little bit tough, but we can do it. Flour. It's a bit more flour. A little bit more. Keep it together as much as you can. Well, you can do a flip over here. A little bit more flour on there, not too much flour. And there we go. Actually, I'll roll it a little bit wider. That's the dough, all right? So you see the size, it's a little bit more than double the size of the dough, which was an 8x8, so I don't know, maybe around 20 inches long. So then you want to pop that inside, right over here. Fold our butter over. Fold our butter over here. And you want to pinch it in. Don't worry, it'll look nice and pretty as we go on, as we roll it out. Put a little bit more flour on over here. Okay, now for the tough part, which is getting our first roll. We want to do 2 rollouts each time, and then so 2 rollouts, put in the fridge for 2 hours, let the glutens relax in the dough, and then take it out and do it again. Stamp it down a bit. We're blending the butter and the dough together. You need a really good heavy rolling pin. One with handles on the side is the best. You need to really push down, you need that rhythm. There we go, we got some butter popping through, no big deal. So what's going to happen on the first layer, on the first roll? Pull it up. Flip. Put that back in over here from underneath. I'm gonna roll this side up. Grab a knife and just square it up. So there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a tri-fold. There. One over there. And we can actually fold it once more on top of each other like that. Looks like. Now we're gonna, you can put it into the fridge now if you wanted to and wait another 2 hours to do the next fold, or I like to do 2 folds each time, so that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to roll it out one more time. All right, here we go for second rollout. Now it's really starting to blend nicely. So we'll have a nice even layer of dough, butter. Beautiful. All right. Now let's do another fold. 1, 2, and you can do it once more like that. Isn't that nice? We're going to wrap that in saran and put it into the fridge. Okay, into the fridge she goes for 2 hours. Okay, so I've now just taken that out of the fridge and we're about to roll it out for a second time. I'm just going to leave it on the counter and let it warm up a little bit. It's been in the fridge for probably about 3 hours. I had to go out for a bit. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to now unwrap it and roll it out for a second time. Still pretty Push it down like that. That looks really, really nice. Then we're going to do our fold again. 1. See how it doesn't break apart. And 2. Now I'm not going to flip it over again. I'm just going to work it one more time from here. Just the tri-fold this time. As it warms up, it gets a little bit easier, but that's about it. This looks good. All right, so now we will do our fold again. Starting to look really nice. Now back into the fridge it's gonna go for another couple hours. I've now popped it out of the fridge. We're ready for our third fold. It's been a couple hours and we're gonna do it again. It's just repeating the same thing over again. Here we are, ready for our third fold. Just took this out of the fridge. It's been in there for 2 hours and we're gonna do it again, repeating it, third time.
Really nice again.
Looks pretty good. now we are going to do our fold again. One's there. And there we go. I'm going to wrap it, put it back into the fridge, and in 2 hours we'll come back and it'll be ready to start rolling out to make our cheese bagels. Next steps will be rolling it out, cutting them to size, and then adding our filling in, and then learning how to make the shape and the whole process of actually putting them into the oven and baking them up. Okay, so another 2 hours has passed and we are now ready to roll out our dough. I just want to show you over here. I'm going to slice this off. Now look at that. Look at all of our layers of butter and dough. Absolutely perfect. Okay, so now we are going to roll this out. Now, when you roll this out for cheese bagels, we want the layers, the thickness to be about a 1/4 of an inch thick. You don't want it too thick. So in terms of size, we want the squares to be about 5 by 6 inches. So I've got this nice little cover from my container over here that I'm going to use as a template to cut them out. Now, you can completely roll it out and do one long strip and then roll it and then cut them up afterwards. I like to do it like this. I like to do the little squares. It's a little bit easier. So here we go. Just keep going. Okay, our dough is rolled out. It's about the thickness that we want. Well, that's a little bit thick over there, but right over here, that's about what we want. Roll it a little bit more on the edges. That's about it. You don't need it thick. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut up the dough into our squares, 5 by 6, anywhere in and around there, 4 by 6, 4 by 5, whatever you like, depending on the size of cheese bagel you want. Now, call them cheese bagels. I think they should really be called cheese horseshoes because they're in a horseshoe shape, but I've always known them as cheese bagels, so that's what they are. Now, I'm using this, but you can use a pizza cutter and just roll it and make all of your cuts on your dough. peel all this back. Okay, so I've now rolled out the dough, I've cut it up, I've re-rolled the sections that I have peeled off to get more squares out of it, and I think we're good now. We're about a dozen and a half, 2 dozen and a half squares, which is pretty good. Now, this is the thickness that you're looking for, right? You see that? That's what we're looking for. Not too thick, not too thin. This will make a nice cheese bagel. So what we're doing next is we've got an egg wash over here. We've got our granulated sugar. We've got our cheesecake mix. So watch cheesecake video if you're just coming in now. And I've got a cake piping bag, which I'm gonna fill just to make it easier. If you don't have a cake piping bag, you can just spoon a strip along inside the squares. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you how to shape them. I did just want to add that our cheesecake mix, that's been chilling in the fridge all day. We want it kind of firm. So just leave it in the fridge as long as you can. Then we're gonna fill some into the bag. There we go. It's a little messy now. That's okay, part of the fun. Oh. All right. So what we wanna do, we want to take our egg wash over here. I'm going to put a strip down at the bottom. Just like that. So when we do our fold, it's got somewhere to stick to. And we're doing a little bit of an assembly line. So we've got our squares, our sugar, our egg wash, cheese, and we've got a tray over here. Okay, so here we go. Take our bag. I'm gonna pop in a nice strip right there. And do almost a double layer. That's what it's gonna look like. All right. Bring it in a little bit closer here, and then we just take it, fold it over, tuck it in, roll, roll, and we've got a nice long little tube like that, and we just want to put our hands around it like this and just tug a little bit like that. Don't want to rip it, and then you just make it into a horseshoe shape like that. I'll show you what it looks like once they're on the tray. All right, I'm gonna pipe a few more just so you can see. All right. Fold it over. Can you see that? Roll, roll. We got a nice one, a nice roll like that. Stretch it out. pull it, and then fold it into a horseshoe. So it should look like that. Give it a nice shape. Again, over here. Pull it out. And there we go. Very nice. Pull it out. And there we are. Got it? Now do it to all of them. Okay, so we're all done now. Next thing we want to do is give everything a good egg wash, and we want to take each one individually, and we are going to dunk them top down onto the sugar. So we're going to have a nice granulated sugar. Took the cheese bagel, did the egg wash, dunked it in sugar, coarse sugar, and there we go. The fruits of our labor. And here we are. Egg wash, dunk them face down in the sugar, and then pop them out onto the tray. 2.5 dozen cheese bagels that are ready for the oven. All right, and here we are. They are in the oven. You want to pop them in at 350 for about 25 minutes until they're golden brown. And the final result. Here we have our delicious cheese bagels. Enjoy, everyone.